And now protesters in the UK have clashed with members of a pro-Israeli group at a top London university. Let's take a look.
In general, the people, everyone there needs to get over themselves and realize that we're in the 21st century. They do not need no Jewish majority state.
Demonstrators are protesting against a speech being delivered at the University College of London, or the UCL, by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. The protesters chanted "Free Palestine" while holding anti-Israel banners. The event came to a halt and police officers were called to escort UCL's Friends of Israel Society away from the lecture hall. Earlier this year, university's Board of Student Union passed a motion endorsing the anti-Israeli boycott, divestment and sanctions movement. The BDS started nearly a decade ago with the stated goal of bringing an end to Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. And now we're joined out of Vancouver by Mrs. Karen DeVito, a Canadian activist. Hello, Mrs. DeVito, and thanks for joining us on Press TV's Top 5, ma'am. Now, why do you think that we're seeing so many university students worldwide increasingly supporting Palestinians against Israeli aggression? Because in Western media, they do quite a bit of underreporting crimes against Palestinians and overreporting the opposite.
Well, you know, students are pretty media savvy these days. And university is a time for questioning things. So yes, they're questioning the reporting of what happens in Palestine. Not only that, but they saw how the head of B'Tselem went to the UN and made a strong statement, and that he was threatened to have his citizenship removed. Now, they're very aware of events there. Not only that, but university students are linking the struggle of indigenous people who are being oppressed or crowded into smaller and smaller land base for resources, for taking of land, for taking of resources for corporate interests, and in Palestine, of course. It's a military occupation. They can see this for themselves. They question it. So that was a pretty noisy affair there, and usually students are passionate about their ideas, and so that's what happened.
And ma'am,
so
when we,
I think that's part of why we're seeing it more around this particular issue, but it's happening around other issues that involve indigenous people.
In fact, they are. And when we see university students this passionate, as you just mentioned, about this kind of issue or this exact issue, could it be the sign of an inevitable change to come in the future? After all, I mean, tomorrow's world will be theirs to run and manage.
Yes, it will be. And keep in mind, too, that the South Africa boycott took 20 years before it really had some effect. There were other factors which changed things there, that changed the system of justice, that brought African people justice in South Africa, and full human rights. But justice and human rights are very important things for university students now. And they will stand up for them. And I saw the video clip. I don't know which one you showed, but yes, it was a raucous protest. It was characterized, I saw headlines saying, turned violent in quotes. I didn't see in the video, I wasn't there, I don't know. But it did not look like anyone put their hands on anyone else. That is something that is really, really frowned upon in the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement. It is a nonviolent call to call Israel to task on what they're doing there. So this is something that appeals to students, and even here we are seeing more students interested in this movement and asking older people who've been involved with it, look, can you give us some pointers and support? So yes, it's growing, and yes, these are the young people who are going to be in charge, and I hope I live long enough to see what they're going to do, because it's going to be interesting.
Thank you much, Mrs. DeVito, for your input. That's Mrs. Karen DeVito, Canadian activist, joining us out of Vancouver, Canada.